My investment portfolio has dropped so much in 2022, plus all my Facebook stock. Do I need to worry? Is there hope?
Okay, you don't need to worry. I shouldn't say that. You don't need to worry if you have time. Okay. Average market downturn cycle lasts 3 to 4 years. Okay. Average market upturn, maybe meaning we're riding the high right now, lasts give or take 10 years. Okay. Last time it lasted 15 years, as I'm sure you know, almost 15 years. So if you have those 3 to 4 years to kind of weather the storm, you're going to be fine. If you need the money tomorrow, you shouldn't have invested in these things to begin with. So in that case, I'd probably be worried if you need the money tomorrow, but otherwise you're going to be fine. The markets generally cycle towards an increase. And the reason behind this, and a lot of people who are seeing crypto right now are hurting because the crypto markets have just dived. And
We didn't see that coming, Zach.
yeah, well, exactly. The reason, and it's what I tell people, I never tell anybody to invest more in crypto than they're willing to lose, and it's for a reason, right? When you have a company like Facebook, we're talking about billions, tens of billions of IP and actual physical, tangible assets that we can feel, right? So there is value there no matter what. We're offering a service that is going to generate income every single year because, especially Instagram, I think is the largest social media platform in the world right now, right? And Instagram is just Facebook, right? So if we're talking about,
And
being able to,
WhatsApp.
exactly, in WhatsApp, right? And if we're talking about being able to generate income on a move forward basis, Facebook's going to make tons of money. I'm not worried about Facebook. And though they're turning down right now, they're trending down. Maybe they've been overvalued. Maybe their value has been, associated with some type of inflated call that isn't necessarily true. Facebook's going to generate up. Crypto, on the other hand, it doesn't have inherently any value to it. It's not like, a piece of gold, which you can go to a market and trade. It's not like, a security where, here's my certificate for the security. This buys me if the company goes bankrupt, 1% of their assets, right? So it's just, it doesn't have that tangible feel to it, which is why it's hurting for a lot of people right now. Though that's also not to say that it may go up otherwise, because its feel is that it's untraceable as of now. So
Well, there's that crypto king based out of the Bahamas who's been in the news lately, and his billionaire status got wiped out 90% plus. Can't tell you his name off the top of my head right now. But Elon Musk said that he met him originally when he was doing the Twitter purchase and said, I was told this guy walks on water and he can't miss and he wants to help me. He said, after a 30-minute meeting, my BS meter was running off the hook meeting this guy.
yeah.
And sure enough, Elon Musk turned out to be correct because now this is in the world of hurt as far as in the crypto world. And when you're one of the bigger crypto people, and turns out that you have crypto issues, including apparently, I was reading it as well about purchasing your own coins before it went out to the public in a form of crypto insider trading. To me, it's all buying things, money you're saying based on air. And I'm telling you that I have money. It doesn't exist, but trust me, it's there. It's electronic. When one person falls, I think it hurts the whole industry, right?
It does. Well, it's especially when you're that heavily diluted, right? Not to mention, there is an inherent reliance on Binance in this situation, which caused major issues, right? And I'm not going to get too much into the crypto because if I were to tell you the amount of like kids I coached, right? Like kids, many kids I coached that bought, a couple of these crypto shares and whatever it was at this
Coins.
or coins, whatever it was at this time. Maybe they bought a piece of this one or Ethereum or whatever it was at this time. And oh yeah, now I'm worth $500,000, right? Like they've made crazy amounts of money. So it's not to say that there's not a worthy investment. And it's not to say that some of these coins can't be used moving forward because there are countries that are implementing them as actual currency and using them as actual currency and using the technology, right? Like the blockchain technology is going to revolutionize this world if it hasn't already. So there's definitely value there. It's just a matter of what we're seeing. Anyways, to the original question, should you be worried? Give it time. You'll be fine.
Like take Tom Brady, for example. Tom Brady is going through his own issues right now, which we won't get into as far as personal life. But then you hear about his investments. He was heavily invested into crypto as well. I don't know if he was getting paid in crypto partially, but I know that he was heavily invested in it. When Tom Brady's investment goes down in crypto, you got to also know Tom Brady could lose $3 million, and it'll be like you and I lose $10, Zach, because also Tom Brady has a vast amount of portfolio, including buying a pickleball team.
Yeah.
And in pickleball, the fastest growing sport, so he knows how to diversify himself. But it's one of those things that you've always said about investing. You're going to invest in something that's not going to be a sure thing, or it has to be a long-term play. Do it that if you're going to lose your shirt, you're not going to feel it. Because if you're putting in your life savings into this, that could be a scary proposition. There's lots of people I've heard that put money into crypto and other items, which I'm sure they're feeling. And the same thing they say, I put money in Apple stock and I'm immune to any issues, you know. And look at Facebook. I think with Facebook, if I had to guess, this whole metaverse thing, which people still don't understand, Web3. So we're all apparently on Web 2, and then we're all going to be, you know, like Avatar, and we're going to be living in our Avatar world. Well, that hasn't happened yet the way everybody said it was going to be. Maybe it will in the future. The technology is still fairly new, but when you're creating a new technology and it's not fully implemented, that cost of infrastructure and not seeing returns can really drag you down. And I think that's what they're feeling over there. Similarly, like, and if we're going to talk about investments, people putting money into things, right? Elon Musk, and you're saying Tesla, and Tesla, you know, can't miss. He's still, I think, the leading holder, but he's only has 12% from the last time I read. So there's 88% out there that other people own of it, and now he goes into Twitter. When I'm hearing these things, you know, Zach, and other people hear it, and you hear it in the news, and you know, and you're really big into investments. Okay, does that mean I should be buying more Tesla? Should I be buying more Twitter, or should I be selling it? What goes through your mind as a money investment guru when you hear all these Elon Musk stories and Facebook stories and Twitter stories? Like, what do you feel from that end as far as from an investment standpoint?
It changes a bunch of things. So, for instance, you know, we'll use Elon Musk for this example. And when he bought Twitter, Twitter was a dying platform a few years ago. I want to say before the Trump era, right? It was a
Yes.
platform that wasn't getting as much traction as it used to. It used to be the sounding board for the whole world to know what's up, right? You know, then eventually Instagram came along, and Instagram became the sounding board because you posted a picture with it and whatever caption you wanted, right? Um,
And
but
TikTok.
well, TikTok now is, yes, TikTok now is changing the world. But Twitter, Twitter since, you know, revived itself, given all the arguments that like to happen over Twitter. And so, you know, for Elon Musk to diversify himself and go into that social media, especially because he has used the platform to earn so much money in his lifetime, it's not exactly a bad idea. These social medias are always good forms of investment. I don't want to say always, but are usually good forms of investments. We've seen Mark Zuckerberg make more money than God using these platforms. So, you know, I don't hate it. I like the idea to stick to what you're good at, which for Elon Musk is a very broad spectrum because he seems to be good at everything. So, you know, for him especially, I don't hate it. For other people, I don't love diversifying into, you know, a whole different industry when you may not necessarily know what you're getting yourself into. But the key thing with people like Elon Musk and, you know, many big CEOs, powerful people, so you have to understand that even though they may be investing their money into it, they have a team of people surrounding them, you know, some of them into the hundreds that know exactly what they're talking about. And they hire these people because they're smart enough to know, hey, too many cooks in the kitchen. I don't know what I'm talking about here. I'm going to leave you to it. And so that's why it doesn't really shake me too much when I hear these things.
I heard a fantastic conspiracy theory. Not that it's necessarily a conspiracy theory. It's when somebody who's very, very intelligent in the world of investing. I don't know if you can call him a day trader or what he is. We will not name him, but he did bring forward a very interesting point and just food for thought out there that Elon Musk wants to sell his Tesla stock, doesn't want to see as dumping the Tesla stock because they don't want to create a whole scare. And the way to do that, put up the Trojan horse, so to speak, and that's I'm buying Twitter. So everybody's so focused on Twitter and the purchase of Twitter and what's going on Twitter, they're forgetting about the fact that he's diluting his Tesla holdings. So interesting theory there that was run by me.
Well, and that's not something I wouldn't call it necessarily a conspiracy theory. It's definitely reality. And I've heard this one a couple of times over the last couple of years. And the reality that we need to understand for people like Elon Musk is, you know, he made his fortune on an industry of battery powered vehicles and battery powered reusable resources, right? So that's just, it's not just the Tesla car, the Model X that you see out driving out there, but it's also, the gigafactories that he has that are powering countries. And the reality is you're now going to see a lot of competition in that area. And what it's going to do is drive down the price of everything, which for him, it's not a winning formula, right? Like simple supply and demand, the less supply, the more demand, it just drives up the curve there, right up the value, and it increases the price drastically. But now that we have more supply coming out, cars have been mandated in certain countries. They have to be EV, within the next 3 years, right? So, Elon Musk is going to see a lot of competition, which he's probably not too happy about, and he wants to sell on the uproar.
Yeah, I mean, think about just people. If you look in the car industry, and it's amazing, and do your research a little bit, any car that you go to purchase, and you think, wow, this is cool, it's a different company, there's only 3 or 4 companies that own all of them. So you look at Volkswagen, for example, they own pretty much every single brand out there. And to go up against Volkswagen, that's a scary proposition considering how deep pockets they are.
Oh yeah.
And when they're catching up to you and they're at your heels, that's not great for competition. I hear you. Last question on this part of it. I'm just thinking ahead because I know I've been asked this one a lot. Take, for example, let's go back to that 32-year-old investor, okay? And
Mm-hmm.
Zach, they decide, I'm going to be really good. I'm going to put my money and diversify through my financial planner, and I'm going to put $20,000 in this year, and we're going to put in different funds. I get my statement at the end of the year. I invested in January 2022. Now it's December coming up 2022, and my holdings is worth $15,000. How do you answer somebody that where they're at as far as don't worry about this? And number two, in fact, if you have the available money, now's the time to buy rather than sell.
Yeah, so it's an easy conversation for people like me. And the reason being is I wouldn't invest this person in anything that they don't have a timeline that they can't afford the risk. Okay. So it's like I said before. If this individual came up to me, they put in 20 grand or whatever it is, and they said, I'm in for the next 10 years, then I'd say, Nacho, this is the ebbs and flows. The reality is in the marketplace, there's only so many, and it's a handful of days in a year where you see multi percentage returns in the market, right? So for instance, we had one, if it wasn't last week, it was a couple of weeks ago, where the Dow, what was it? No, I think it was last week, because the interest rates or the inflation rate was shown to be declining, if not stabilizing. And
Yes,
when
last
the
week.
market saw that, they went nuts. Right, everyone's like, "Oh my God, inflation's finally going to stop. Maybe it's going to go down a little bit." We're finally reaching the peak of inflation, which was very exciting for most people. And then in that one day, right, that one day, we saw 5.5% returns in the market indices. Right, five and a
Crazy.
half return is huge. So what you have to tell people, and what people they have to see themselves, is there's only really 5 or 6 days in a whole year that can make or break your portfolio, which is why you have to remain invested, right? It's the same for the alternative, which was, I think, February 24th of 2020, which is when the market, I don't want to say crashed, but it's when it took its major dip, right? 30%, 35% losses for most people. If you weren't invested that one day, you'd be fine, right? But on the same token, you have to be there for those single day uproars, which is at 5.5%. So I tell people you can't take your money out and just oh, after it goes up a little bit, we're going to put it in, because you don't know that, right? Like we didn't know. We've had 10 CPI inflation reports that were way too high. How did we know the 11th was going to be good? For the average investor, we don't have access to that data. Could we be hopeful? Could as an economist like myself be hopeful and say, well, it should be coming down right about now? Then yeah, I could. But for the average person, they don't know that. And two, it's like I said, you're not investing for a period of time as of 6 months. I wouldn't even let you do that. Like I've turned away. I had somebody come up to me and for $500,000 they wanted to invest with me, which is a substantial amount of money for the average advisor. And I said, forget about it, because they want it in for a year. And I said, you can't afford a year, right? They want to go buy a property with this money. I said, well, I'm sorry, but if you need this $500,000 to buy the property, you can't afford The market just as easily could have said, well, inflation's now up 1% higher than expected, and you'd lost 10%.
Let me guess. They said to you, Zach, I'm giving it to you for a year. I'm going to go buy my property. Just put it in something safe, but I want at least a 5% return, guaranteed.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. So what can I go in that's going to give me a 7% return, but absolutely no risk, right? And I tell them, GICs they should be looking at right now. No one's happy to hear.
What I have told people, as far as from an investment standpoint, and for those people out there that do have any kind of liquid money, when it is recessionary times, scary times, people are pulling out of things, and this could be in anything, it could be in real estate, it could be in stocks. When people are looking to sell and dump and the price is going down, that's the best time to buy. If you can buy it and hold on to it, because in the long term, you're going to be laughing versus when you're buying in the mad rush, when everybody's clamoring to buy, prices are skyrocketing, and you're just trying to get in. So something to think about, not to follow the herd. Let's sell when we need to dump it, and let's buy it in the peak time. Try to reverse that. You may be a lot happier as an investor.
Absolutely. We gotta hit that dollar cost averaging, right? Certain times of the year, dollar cost averaging, I wouldn't even say certain times, usually it is the best strategy, right? What's dollar cost averaging? We're putting the same amount of money every single period in so that we're hitting the market at every single point in its growth and its decline to make sure that we're averaging out all losses and all gains, right? And if you've been doing that in the stock market or the crypto market or whatever market or real estate market, you're going to be okay.